Welcome back to BVarsity Live. Zach and Trevor here to wrap things up on this Thursday as we get going with basketball playoffs and soccer, wrapping up soccer playoffs, wrestling postseason, of course, right in the middle of everything. Our thanks to Frontier Wrestling and West High Boys Basketball for being on the show with us today. And hey, we got to go through the rest of the boys basketball playoffs here in a second, but it's just a fun time of year. It's fun to talk to these kids when you know, a lot of how they remember high school is going to be formed over these next couple of weeks.
Because you remember what you did last, and if what you did last was great, you're always going to remember that in a positive way.
And you know what? Even if it's not, it shapes you.
It does.
You know, I mentioned that earlier. I was a bad high school wrestler, quite frankly. At least for 3 of my 4 years, and the fourth one I was pretty mediocre. But it shaped me as a person. And even though I didn't win a lot or as much as I wanted to, you know, you still kind of look back on those times fondly.
And I was a horrible high school athlete, but one thing that my dad, who was a fantastic high school and college athlete, was the one thing he instilled in me is don't ever do just one thing. And so I played 3 sports in high school, whether I was good at them or not.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of why I am so kind of Energizer Bunny, because I don't like doing just one thing. And I think that shaped me as well.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun for us to see these kids and coaches chase their passion, I think, is the best way to put it. And obviously the passion comes from that prize at the end. That's the, you know, a Valley Championship or a state championship. And certainly that lends context to the situation, but that's not what it's all about necessarily.
Right.
So having said that, let's move into boys basketball.
Division 2. Yeah, there we go.
You know what? Let's go back to D1. Let's real quick recap just what's going on. Again, we start Centennial at Central. I'll be at that game. That's the number 1 seed Central. But really, I think the top 5 teams you throw in a hat in this division.
Oh, yeah.
And you could
completely.
say any one of them.
Well, because
it wouldn't be a surprise
every
if they
single
won.
one of them, like Clovis North at one point was number 1.
Yep.
BHS has always been there. BHS
Central,
never
Clovis
made
West,
it to the number 1 spot because they did have the early season loss to Clovis West and Ridgeview. But yeah, they're all in there. Clovis North, Liberty, BHS, Clovis West, Central. They're all right there in that mix. And then Centennial, I mean, it just goes to show
They got talent.
They
Yep.
got talent, and you know what? Herndon knows what to do with them.
And yeah, they play hard for Herndon. There's no doubt about that. And so that'll be interesting to see. We'll also have coverage, Steve Lynch, at this game, Clovis North at Liberty. That's just a terrific matchup.
Yeah.
It should be really good. And then you will be at BHS, the Drillers taking on Stockdale. And so a Kern County team here, guaranteed obviously in the semis, will face the winner of Clovis West and Bullard in the other quarter. In Division 2, this is a key one. You got to zero in on this one, Tulare Union and Ridgeview.
Because I talked to Jordan Roberts last night. He said he probably will not play tomorrow night because he's still dealing with that ankle injury he suffered at Independence in the regular season finale. I've got to figure that if it's a close game or if Tulare Union takes a lead in the second half, that he comes in at some point.
He did say, didn't he tell you, I could go, but I could go, err on the side of caution.
Yeah, exactly, because then they wouldn't play again until next Wednesday, and that's almost 2 weeks of him resting. But, you know, Mike Martin's been sending me video of him practicing over the last week and a half. And so, you know, he's not done for the season by any stretch. He'll be back. There's not going to be any lingering effect, I don't think, once you get to the semis. But they got to get through Tulare Union, who beat Garces last night 63-44.
The pressure on Justin McCall, on R.J. Ziegler, on some of Ridgeview's LJ Ziegler.
Quentin Croney,
some of their other key players and their starters have got to step up and play this game and carry them. And if you're Tulare Union, I guarantee the Tribe comes in here thinking their top dog's out. We got a chance. They're not number 1 in the section without him, and they're going to play a little bit harder. And that's going to be a really interesting one to see, particularly to see if Ridgeview, can you put this away by halftime and keep Tulare Union at an arm's length so that you don't have to risk further injury to Jordan Roberts.
But I'm telling you right now, I think the injury to LJ Ziegler in the second half of league play is actually going to help Ridgeview tomorrow night, because with him, the point guard, gone, it allowed other guys to step up, and it allowed Mike Martin to say, hey, listen, we could still win without a starter. Now, albeit Jordan Roberts, arguably best player in town, maybe best player in the central section, along with his teammate Justin McCall. That's bigger than losing LJ, but still it shows that other guys can step up and they can continue winning.
Really interested to see how Justin McCall plays in particular.
Yep.
Moving on in D2, this also it says D1 at the top. It's D2. El Diamante at Independence and the Falcons. Under the radar, but they've had a good year.
They have. I think Elijah Cardenas is one of the best pure shooters in town. You've got Kevin Larson underneath. You got the Henderson brothers and Dustin Lance playing really well. I think this team is really well-rounded, and they play good basketball, and they're a perfect D2 team right there at the, in the 3 seed, just where they're supposed to be at home tomorrow night with a chance. Probably going to go on the road and play a Memorial team in the semifinals with a win. Memorial's playing Hoover, the 10 seed that upset Hanford. It's going to be a tough road, but, we still have a chance for a rematch for the fourth matchup between these two at Selland, maybe.
Could happen, yeah.
It could happen.
Some obstacles in the way, though. Yep. In Division 3, we mentioned this game in the last segment, Clayton Madden and his South Rebels at Selma. Don't count South out.
What a great story.
Selma's really good, but South's got a lot of momentum right now,
too. And Clayton Madden knows how to coach up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Roosevelt, CHAVEZ gets a home game. They won their game, and then they got an upset. Roosevelt's the defending champion here, though, so this is not your typical 13 seed.
Yeah,
now, not the same team as last year.
No, because they're superstars starting for Fresno State.
Bryson Williams, yeah. But still not. I don't think you can look at that and say, "Oh, it's a 13 seed." We've got this if you're CHAVEZ, because that'll be tricky. They've got some kids with championship pedigree there. Also in D3, we mentioned this one, Tulare Western at West. And then moving down into Division 4, McFarland at Emmanuel. Emmanuel no stranger to Selland, and they're trying to get back.
Yep.
BCHS, also no stranger to Selland, but going to be tough for them. They got to go on the road now. Good win for them against Foothill last night.
Well, BCHS girls no stranger to Selland. Kyle Shiloh, first-year head coach at BCHS. They got the 10 seed, which still is kind of an unusual 10 seed for me in Division 4. I think they were a lot better than that, and they showed that last night in the win over Foothill, which is a fantastic game between two locals where BCHS had that big lead, and then Foothill started storming back with Tyus Wilson and Edward Squid Turner kind of playing up. And then Jeremiah Foster steps up. He's going to Sac State on a football scholarship. But this kid is, and we've said it before, he's one of those pure 3-sport athletes, and he stepped up big last night with a 25-point performance. But they're at Madera South. We saw that with the Garces tournament. This is a very good team. Remember, 2,800 kids at Madera South. So competitive equity on the opposite side of, say, like Shafter girls. So here they are in the 2 seed, and they're going to host BCHS.
So that is the story in D4. In D5, Cal City, the Ravens are the number 1 seed. They score a ton of points. 100-point games. Yeah, 100-point games are not any stranger for them. They play that really high-tempo style, so they'll be fun to watch. Getting Liberty Madera, what a road trip that is. Liberty Madera down to Cal City.
Yep.
Kern Valley on the road at Fresno Christian. That's a pretty long road trip
itself. One of the few teams
that
beat Cal City this year was Kern Valley.
Yep.
And they'll
they
be
got
up
the
at
7th
Fresno.
seed. So those are the girls' quarterfinals tonight. We went through those at the top of the show. Boys' quarterfinals tomorrow night. The semis next week, and then of course Selland March 3rd and 4th. That's the same dates. The state wrestling tournament is at Rabobank March 3rd and 4th, and the Masters tomorrow and Saturday in Clovis. So
Liberty time trials tomorrow in track and field. It would be a really good test, kind of an early season look at some of the track and field stars.
And we should mention, too, Girls State Wrestling Championships tomorrow and Saturday, the 4th one. Shareni Donis of South. She's beat Avea Lafotu of Golden Valley twice now in the postseason, the county championships and the section championships. So she's one of the favorites at 160 pounds. And a couple of other Kern County girls really expected to do well at state as well.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I like this track meet tomorrow at Liberty. I think it's a good early test. It's going to be cold.
I guess. It's like the 4th time you mentioned it.
Well, I'd like to get into some of those kids. Ray Marquez, he's in there. It'll be fun to see what he can do at East. BHS has a lot coming back. Leisha Viveros and Corbin Chronister's throwers. We saw a lot of horizontal jumpers last year was the big story for us last year in track and field. But I think it's going to be the high jumpers. Cameron Glaskin and Jackson Carroll are in it right now. McGlaskin over at Stockdale, Carroll at Liberty, and they'll be in there. And when Foster gets out of basketball, he'll be in there. He was the defending section champ. So there's a lot of good things to look at, what Garces can do in the boys 4x100. If Carter Bruce can be healthy enough and run the straightaway, it'll be interesting.
Spring is here, everybody, but not before we get through winter sports. Don't
forget about your live blog. You'll have that live blog tomorrow
from wrestling on Bakersfield.com/BVarsity, and that's where you can find all our coverage, including Trevor's BVarsity nightly every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday each week.
At 10:30.
During the school year. Yeah, and it'll be posted around 10:30. For our producer, Chris McCullough, he's Trevor Horn. I'm Zach Ewing. This has been BVarsity Live.
Looking deep down the left side, Mendeville into the end zone, touchdown!